Hey gang, it's Squill, and the second of 3 Owl House Season 3 episodes just aired. Kinda. Yeah, in case you didn't know, and I'd be surprised if you didn't, For the Future was leaked on iTunes, which is actually how I'm able to get this video out so fast. I'm just gonna say it, it's infuriating that Disney let this happen twice. First with the Amphibia Season 2 finale, and now with this. Not only does it just reek of incompetence and a lack of care for these shows and their creators, but it also just creates this awkward divide in the fandom, where some people have seen the episode and some people haven't, and the people who haven't seen it are trying to avoid spoilers from the people who have. It just gets really messy. And just to make things transparently clear, I did watch the leak, however I in no way attempted to spoil it for anyone who hadn't seen it, and went out of my way to not talk about it publicly until the episode released. I didn't want to watch the episode out of respect for the crew, but I also really didn't want to be spoiled. And speaking of which, this video will contain spoilers for the entirety of the Owl House, but especially for the future, so you have been warned. But anyways, as for the episode itself, I thought it was really good, though definitely not as strong as Thanks to Them. It definitely felt more like setup for the finale than a complete story on its own. To the point where, by the time it ended, my biggest reaction was, oh wait, that's it? It's an episode with a lot of build-up, but not a ton of payoff outside of 1 or 2 moments, which doesn't make it bad, it just puts a lot of weight on the finale's shoulders. That being said, there's still a ton of great stuff here that I want to discuss. When I discussed Thanks to Them, I went character by character, but I think for the future, it would make a lot more sense to discuss it by groups of characters. So that's what I'm gonna do. I really liked all the stuff between Luz and Camila in this episode. Not quite as strong as their interactions in Thanks to Them, but still a very solid continuation off of that. I like that Luz's mental health issues from Thanks to Them aren't completely resolved here. She still blames a lot of her mistakes on herself and still wants to leave the demon realm. It really shows that mental health is an uphill battle, and your problems won't be solved with one conversation. Seeing Camila open up to Luz and apologize for her mistakes is such a powerful moment. I love that shot of Luz having her big epiphany moment, so good. In general, I love just how supportive Camila is of Luz in this episode. She's a genuinely great mom who occasionally messes up, but still absolutely loves and wants the best for Luz. It was also fun seeing her interact with the demon realm for the first time. I still think she's the most badass character on the show. We also got the reveal of Luz's talisman in this episode, a snake shifter. Really cool design, makes sense for Luz, and I'm excited to see what she does in the final episode. Next up, we have the Collector and Cain. Look, they're riding on a warp star like in Kirby. First thing I gotta say is that I love the design of the archive itself, it's got such a great aesthetic to it. I also love the Collector's little space room, that was neat. I really enjoyed the Collector's portrayal here, how they're not really a villain, more so just a bratty little kid. A kid who just so happens to have godlike abilities. It made me super worried for King the entire time, as I knew that any moment the Collector could just snap and do something horrible to him. It was great seeing King, Ida, and Lilith again, though admittedly I was a little disappointed we didn't get to see them reunite with Luz. I get why they'd want to save that for the finale, however, when we have such little time left with these characters, I do kinda wish we got to see a little more of them together, you know? Especially since Ida and Lilith don't really get much to do here. Again, it's still great checking in on them, and I love their new designs. I just hope they get something big to do in the finale to make up for their lack of screen time in Season 3 so far. Oh, and Bellows also possesses Rain in this episode, which is cool. They don't do a ton with this concept here, but I'm interested to see where it goes in the finale. I have kinda mixed thoughts on the headside portion of this episode. I think giving the kids the secret hideout in the school is a really fun idea. I also really like what they did with Mytholomule, turning him into Mantholomule. That was pretty funny. But the stuff with Basha didn't really work for me. I've never really cared for Basha or Kikimora as characters, so them teaming up and betraying the gang didn't really interest me. It sorta just felt like it took time away that could have been spent focusing on bigger things. I guess it does serve as to give Amity something to do. By the end of season 2, it sort of feels like Amity's character development is pretty much finished. She's stood up to her mom, made amends with her dad, she's become more of an individual and overall better and more emotionally healthy person. And all that is great, but because of it, she hasn't really gotten much of a focus in Season 3 so far. And in comparison to the moments she gets with her parents in Season 2, her scenes with Basha in this episode kind of fell flat for me. Especially since Basha's redemption basically happens off-screen. But believe it or not, my favorite portion of the episode was actually the stuff with Willow, Gus, and Hunter. Willow's story in particular about feeling as though she needs to hold back her pain from the rest of the group was really powerful, and I'm not even the biggest Willow fan. But I think it was really smart to put some emphasis on her mental health in this episode, as she doesn't always get the most amount of screen time. It's just a nice little side story about Willow allowing herself to be vulnerable around her friends. I love it. And I love Hunter's revelation that he was able to absorb Flapjack's powers. That's so cool. I've come to really enjoy Hunter and Willow as a pairing, and I hope they get together in the final episode. I think I've said everything I needed to as far as my thoughts on the episode as a whole goes, so now let's look at my predictions from my Thanks to Them video, and see what I got right and wrong. So I'm gonna hold off on talking about predictions I made that aren't necessarily confirmed or denied yet, as I'm saving them for when I discuss my predictions for the next episode. The first thing I predicted is that the episode will start where Kane's Tide left off, just like Thanks to Them, but from the Boiling Isles perspective instead of the kids. And yeah, I was completely right on that one, that exact thing ended up happening. Next, I predicted that the Collector was using all the characters as pieces in a game he created called The Owl House. And yeah, I was pretty much right, though it was less of a game and more of a recreation of the Boiling Isles. But still, I was pretty dang close. I predicted that the Collector will be keeping Kane as himself to play with him. Again, I was mostly right about this, though I was surprised by how much free will the Collector gave Kane to just see Ida whenever he wants. I was thinking Kane would be more of a prisoner like Mabel in the Weirdmageddon episodes of Gravity Falls. I predicted that Bellows would attempt to redo the draining spell, which we didn't see him do here, so I'm actually not sure what Bellows' plan is anymore. I guess we'll have to find out in the next episode. I predicted that V would be taking care of Luz's talisman back on Earth and bring it back in this episode or the finale, and nope, that didn't happen at all. So I guess the fact that Luz didn't have her talisman with her must have just been a continuity error. Though I'm still hoping that V at least gets a cameo in the finale. Though I did predict that Luz's talisman would be a snake, which I was pretty close to being right about. It ended up being a snake shifter. So now that I covered my old predictions, what new predictions do I have for watching and dreaming? First off, I am 100% convinced that the series will end with Luz being able to travel in between the human and demon realms. I think this completely makes sense as an ending to her arc, and I couldn't see it happening any other way. I think we'll also likely get a redemption for the Collector, since, as I said before, they're more of a bratty child than an actual villain. I think it's likely that he'll have their powers taken away, sort of like Ozai at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And even if he's not redeemed, I highly doubt our characters are gonna just flat out kill this child. In my Thanks to Them video, I predicted that the characters would split up to fight the Collector and Bellows individually. And while this still could happen, I think, since it's the final episode, we probably want to see all of our characters together, so they'll probably just fight the Collector and Bellows as a group. I do, however, still believe that Hunter will be the one to defeat Bellows. It's the perfect way to end his character arc, and I'd honestly be super disappointed if this didn't end up happening. I think we're also definitely getting some big romantic moment between Luz and Amity. Either another kiss, or an I love you, or maybe both. We'll probably also see Hunter and Willow get together, as the show has been building up to that a lot. We'll probably get a fight scene between Ida and Rain possessed by Bellows, ending with the two reuniting and getting back together. I think we'll see Kane unleash some sort of big Titan power, and I definitely still think we're getting some sort of big Hootie moment in the finale. We just gotta. And those are my last predictions before the finale. I gotta say, I'm definitely feeling some mixed emotions about the show coming to an end. Obviously, I'm super excited to watch the final episode and see how this story ends. I'm also a little sad that I'll be saying goodbye to these characters and this world I love so much. But not gonna lie, I'm also feeling kinda nervous. I feel like there's just so much stuff for this one 45-minute episode to wrap up that some of it may end up feeling a little rushed. I'm sure the finale will still be good, I'm just trying to keep my expectations in check. But how do you guys feel about For the Future, and what are your hopes for watching and dreaming? Let me know in the comments, and Squill out.